Hello there, my name is liambughood. I'm a 16-year-old phonograph collector from Pennsylvania, and this is my video series, Phonographs for Dummies. It's all about the operation, restoration, and maintenance of antique cylinder phonographs. Today I'm going to show you some of the more common types of cylinder records that you are likely to find as a collector. I'm going to start off by showing you all of these, most of the types of records produced by Thomas Edison's National Phonograph Company. So to start off, I'm going to show you some of the earlier types of records, and these are Edison gold molded records. Now these are always black wax records. They are always 2-minute records designed to be played on 2-minute machines with a reproducer that has a sapphire stylus. These have to be played with a reproducer of a sapphire stylus because these are made of wax and they are very brittle and fragile, so they can't be played with like steel needles or other types of reproducers with diamond tips, which are made for later records, which I will discuss when I get to them. But these black wax records started to be produced in 1902 and are made by a molding process in which a wax master cylinder is made and then put in a vacuum chamber, and then little sheets of gold and or silver are placed around the wax master to create basically like a negative almost. I think the term would be a negative. Basically just to create something that can then be used to mold black wax cylinders in this black wax composition. Well, they're called black wax records, but they're technically a metallic soap, so closer to that than a candle. And these records were produced from 1902 to roughly 1908, I believe, and they are all 2 minutes in length, very limited recording time. They all look like this. They are laterally cut. All cylinder records are, and most of them are designed to play around 160 RPM or rotations per minute, but some may vary, but not much, at least not as much as earlier records. So the next type of records I'm going to show you are Edison amberol records. These are also made of a black wax-like composition, but they, instead of 2 minutes, are 4 minutes in length, and they are much, due to being 4 minutes in length, the grooves are much closer together, so that kind of makes them a bit more brittle. And these amberol records are often called damberols because of the fact that they can break very easily. I've actually had one of these records break on me before when it slipped out of the through the bottom of its box. Bottom fell out, and the record fell out and shattered. So they are very fragile, even more so than really any other kind of cylinder record, I don't think. Besides early brown wax, soft brown wax records, I don't think there's any other cylinder records as fragile as these amberol records. And they are all 4 minutes in length, and they're designed to be played on machines that can be geared for either 2 minutes or 4 minutes. And they can be played with a sapphire stylus, but it has to be a 4-minute sapphire because 2-minute sapphires are, I believe, too thick. And so the 4-minute sapphires on reproducers such as the Model H and the Model K reproducer are kind of like straight down instead of the doorknob shape of the styli used to play 2-minute black wax records. And yeah, you can see this is an amberol record. They are flat at the top, unlike most of the black wax 2-minute records. They don't have a bevel on the edge. Alright, next let's go into 4-minute, new 4-minute records. And these are two different boxes, but they are the same type of records. They are blue amberol records. These records are also 4 minutes in length, but they are made of a celluloid material, which is an early form of plastic, and it is a very, very tough material, much tougher than wax cylinders. I'd say they are probably the second most tough types of cylinders, and I'll show you some, what I would consider probably some of the toughest cylinders, but I'll get into those after these. And these blue amberol records are blue in color, and they feature a core which, instead of just being straight celluloid or wax throughout, like how the amberol records and the gold molded records are, they aren't just like the outer material throughout. They have a core made of plaster, and this plaster core can often shrink due to moisture and just general age, so these cylinders often do not fit on the mandrel of a machine to be played, so they often have to be reamed, or basically sanded down on the inside, to allow for them to fit on the mandrel of a machine. And this cylinder was actually reamed. You can see it's kind of whiter on those ring parts. That's because it was reamed. And this cylinder, this cylinder was not. You can tell that's kind of just the same color as the other rings. It has not been reamed because it did not need to be reamed. And these blue amberol records, some of them may differ slightly in color. You can tell these are two slightly different shades of blue, this one being a bit lighter, but it really depends on the record and the amount of light it's been exposed to, and the conditions that it's been exposed to due to its age and different storage conditions. But they are all 4-minute records designed to be played on 4-minute machines, such as any of the Amberola models, so the Amberola 1 through, I believe, DX, and also Amberola 30, 50s, and 75s. And they are all designed to be played with a diamond stylus, which is a much tougher type of stylus, which if you were to use a diamond stylus on a wax record, it would plow right through the record and destroy it. So those types of records are only supposed to be played with a diamond stylus. But earlier machines that are designed to use sapphire styli can play them if geared correctly and if given correct reproducers. I believe the Edison Opera, the Edison Fireside, and maybe other models. Can't think off the top of my head. I'm better with earlier machines and kind of later machines. Those kinds of machines ranging from around 1905 to 1910 aren't my specialty at least. I don't own any of them, so I can't name them off the top of my head, but that's the best I can do for now to explain that. Now, the other type of records I'm going to show you beside the Edison branded ones are these, which I'm going to line them up. I'm going to start out with this one. This is a Columbia cylinder. And this cylinder is a Columbia brown wax cylinder. Now these are, this specific cylinder is a molded brown wax record, so it is created with basically the same process as the Edison black wax gold molded cylinder, except this is made of a composition of brown wax, which was used to make most cylinders before 1902. Now most. There were celluloid cylinders produced beforehand by different companies, such as Henry Leray and the Lambert Company, but you're probably not going to be likely to find those. So, most early cylinders are going to be brown wax of some sort. And these wax records are much more brittle and soft than the harder black wax. And these actually were able to be shaved down and recorded on using a special reproducer that often machines would come with. And it usually just had like a cutting stylus, which was just a sapphire that was angled, so it would basically cut grooves into the cylinder. And you can't really shave down anything besides brown wax records. Well, I wouldn't recommend it, but brown wax are what most home recordable cylinders are recorded on. And this is a Columbia molded brown wax record from about, I believe, 1902. I think the year may vary from 1901 to 1902. I've heard conflicting sources on Columbia's production years of early brown wax, molded brown wax, and molded black wax records that they also made. Columbia did make molded black wax records as well, and Edison also made brown wax records before their gold molded cylinders. But I don't have any Edison brown wax records, sadly, to show you. But now I'm going to show you these last 3 cylinders, and all of these cylinders are celluloid, just like the Edison blue amberol cylinders. Except, you see, these 2 cylinders are 2-minute cylinders. Unlike the amberol records, these are made to be played on 2-minute machines with 2-minute sapphire styli. And these records, instead of having a core made of plaster of Paris, these have a core of usually cardboard or paper mache with metal supporting rings on the edges. So it's hard to see because this one's particularly rusted, but you can kind of tell it's a metal ring. Actually, hold up. I think this one's a lot less rusted. So you can see that ring around it is metal, and that is what supports it, mostly to keep its shape. And these records, I would say, are some of the louder types of records you can find. These 2-minute celluloid cylinders are particularly loud, and I like them. I think they are they're my personal favorite types of cylinders, just because they are very loud, and I'd say they're pretty much, I mean, as far as cylinders go, they are not that easy to break. I've broken amberol records, black wax records. Luckily, haven't broken brown wax records, but I do also have some damaged amberol or blue amberol records. But I've never found or had any bad experiences or breakages with these types of records, and I quite like them. And so they also made 4-minute celluloid records, just like these. These are 2-minute. These are 4-minute, and they can be, you can distinguish them as 4-minute because it says 4M right there on the edge where the song information is listed. So it would say 4M, and that designates it as a 4-minute cylinder. And these were all produced under different labels. I believe the companies making them were the Indestructible Cylinder Company. So hold up, let me just move these back so you can see the full boxes. Indestructible, Everlasting, and Oxford cylinders were the main type of were the main distributors of these other brands of celluloid cylinders. I believe Oxford cylinders were sold by Sears and Roebuck Company, something like that. I'm not familiar with old retail locations, but these were basically different brand names for these cylinders, but they are all really the same, besides obviously the distinction between 2-minute and 4-minute. But you know, they were all the same type of cylinder, and they are pretty nice. They're pretty easy to find. They're usually never expensive, and they are pretty reliable. I don't think I've ever found any in particularly bad condition, and I don't think they are very susceptible to mold, unlike black wax and brown wax cylinders, which are susceptible to mold and damages, which is always something you gotta watch out for when buying cylinder records. Mold and grime and things that can eat away at the wax are often very bad and can result in damage to your styli when playing your records. If you play a cylinder record that has like mold or pits in the grooves, it runs the risk of damaging your stylus, and I don't highly recommend it. So that's about it for these record types. These are pretty much the most common you'll find, at least if you're a US collector. I can't really say much for European collectors. I'm not familiar with really any brands like Pathé, Edison Bell, any of those. I'm not at all familiar with. The only foreign releases of records that I'm familiar with are the Liare cylinders for Liare Phonographs, but that's about it for me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and if you think this video could help someone else you know who's also a collector, maybe share this with them. And if you ever need to contact me, my phone number and my email are in the description for any sort of advice, contact, repair services, you know, anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a good day.